One Nigeria Info, and my name is Somi. It's a tonight show with me, of course, and we've been on since about 10 p.m. And now in the 11 o'clock hour, it's time for us to get on the couch. This is where we get to have therapy sessions. You know, you send in your messages, you let us know what it is that you're dealing with, some difficulty, something you need help with. Whatever it is, you send in your messages, and then we have our certified therapist sit with us and sit with you and see how we can get a handle on some of these conversations, okay? And we had someone do just that. Yes, last week, Anonymous sent in a message detailing the challenges he's having in his relationship with the woman in his life. And it's quite the conversation. I do hope you're listening in, Anonymous. I did say that we were going to attend to this matter today, so please tell me that you're here with us. If you're here, you can send me a message, and then let's get into the conversation, okay? We have Coach Mayzy in the house. Yes, Coach Mayzy is our certified therapist who will be talking on this matter this evening or this night. Yes, we are streaming. Yes, so we are on Instagram. We are also on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. If you're just joining us, you can send in your messages there. Let us know where you are watching from so we can give you your due props and your due accolades, okay? So do sending messages on Facebook or YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. And as the conversation progresses, you want to contribute to the conversation, you can also call our phone lines on 0700 951 0000 or 080-959-74869. And wherever it is that you are listening from around the world outside of Abuja, you can also connect with us on our WhatsApp line. That's 080-999-30137. All right, let's get into the conversation. We have Coach Mayzy in the house with us this evening. Hello, Coach Mayzy. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good.
Okay, we have a bit of an echo. Can you hear me, Coach Mayzy? Hello?
Yeah, I can.
Aha, this is much clearer.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's good now. It's really good now. Welcome, Coach
Okay,
Mayzy. How are you doing?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Welcome. How are you?
Excellent. Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you.
All right. It's good to have you here. So let's just get straight into the conversation. Anonymous sent in the message, which, of course, you got as well. And we want to get right into the heart of the matter. So, Coach Mayzy, talk to us. Let's hear, just give us the background and then let's share it from there. Would that be okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Give me a second. I just discovered the audio on my... That's...
Okay.
You're quite low here, so just give me a second. Let me fix.
All right, that's fine. So while Coach Mayzy is sorting that out, I already have messages coming in. Habila Haruna on Facebook sends this in that he says, good evening. I am watching from Kasina and you say you love the program. Thank you so much, Habila. Emperor Malinga Audu, you are saying if you ask me, now who I go ask, what exactly are you on about, Emperor? I do hope that you are enjoying the show, whatever the case is. I'm not quite sure what the question is, but thank you so much for sending your message. Kabir GCFR says, great job, Somi. I just joined you now, and you're saying you're with us tonight. Thank you so much for that, Kabir. Aleke Musa Austin says, welcome to the program, and I say welcome right back. It's excellent having you here. All right, we have, let's see, is this message for us? Okay, this one was it's not particularly for this segment, but we will definitely get to your message. I see you, Albert Akwehe, that's your name. Yeah, I see you. All right, let's talk to Coach Mayzy. I'll give a bit of a background on the story that came in, okay?
Okay. But I think
are you good?
Let's go.
Yeah. All right, okay. So go ahead, Coach Mayzy. Welcome.
Okay. It was quite a long message. So do you want to summarize? Or?
Okay,
You
okay.
want me to do that?
Okay, let me just give in the summary. Okay, so Anonymous sent in a message, and just before I read it out, like I said, if you're interested in having our therapist, our in-house therapist, certified professionals, take a look at some of the things that you're dealing with, and you want them to get in on the conversation, we can bring you on the couch. So just send in your messages to Somi at nigeriainfo.fm. Okay, that's how this one came in. All right, so Anonymous sent this in. And basically, if I were just to summarize the story, what he's saying. So he met this lady, they connected, began their relationship. Unfortunately, at some point, just right after the relationship started, he had to be transferred out of Abuja. And so, the lady who he was in a relationship with was here in Abuja. He was out of Abuja. And then he also had his family here in Abuja. So occasionally he would come in, and in his words, he would come in to see her, but end up staying in the family house because that's where his family lives. And according to him, she didn't take this lightly. She would always complain that, he didn't actually come to see her. He came to see his family and just thought to, just spend time with her as like a secondary thing. Like she was not the primary reason for his visit. And, he tried to explain to her, but she wasn't having it. Now, he says, in his own words, that this lady who was also complaining about, him coming to visit and not coming to see her primarily, hardly ever came to see him. He says he was in Kaduna. That's where he was transferred to. And while he was in Kaduna, the only 2 times she came to see him was when she was processing some documentation. Some travel documentation. So, he says she's complaining about something, but she, on the other hand, also does this. Long story short, he's really interested in her. He loves her so much. And so he starts to bring in the conversation around marriage. Or rather, she started to bring the conversation around marriage. And at that time, he wasn't really there. He says he wasn't feeling it. But, he started to consider it because she was bringing it up over and over again. As time went on, sometime in the month of September, after a bit of a relationship period with all this back and forth and long distance going on, he says he now started to express why he was not really keen on the marriage, right? At some point, he said even she too started to talk about her marriage concerns and the fact that she didn't want to get married. Forgive me, it's a long message, so I'm trying to paraphrase as much as possible. Issues of how both of them grow up, their backgrounds begin to come up, right? She was concerned that she doesn't want to end up with somebody who would hurt her or would abuse her or something like that. And he would try to explain. No, there was just a lot of explaining going on his part. And this is when the marriage conversations started, okay? Long story short, she gets a job months after they are both beginning to look at the marriage thing, and then she has to move. And then she's moving to Nasarawa State, and they sit down and they're trying to table this conversation. And he is now expressing fears that, look, I don't want you to go. I don't want you to take this job in Nasarawa. He says now that they are beginning to have the marriage conversation, it's not the time for her to get up and go. Things are already difficult enough for him, shuttling Kaduna, Abuja. So if she were to take the job in Nasarawa, it would make things even more difficult. And she was adamant, and she was like, she has to go. And then she went on, and then she left. So the relationship sort of went from already dicey to really, really bad. However, because he loves her so much, he decided to still make it work. Only problem is now she's not really into the whole marriage conversation. Being a man that he is and being as protective as he is, when they're having conversations about, her being all the way in Nasarawa State, she starts to call him insecure. And it's a problem. So the young man is, in the place where he's trying to figure out what to do with this relationship. Things are not working out as he expects. But then he's also concerned that if he lets her go now, it's going to damage him. So, Anonymous, if you're listening, I hope I did justice to your long message and sort of made it make sense for us all. And at this point, I'm going to hand over to our therapist, Coach Mayzy, who is here. So, Coach, over to you. What should he do?
Thank you so much. You did a great job at that, I must say.
Thank you.
I'm going to highlight a number of points which you already did, and I'll just start speaking to them. And I really hope that the person who sent in the message is on the call, because there is a lot that we have to unpack here.
Yeah.
All right. Now, first things first, there's a part at the end of the conversation where he's asking what should he do. He's afraid of breaking up now. He's afraid of losing her. Let me just drop this first, right? And then I'll come back to it later. Let me just drop it for the purpose of him and any other person listening.
Okay.
And I want to say this, it might be unpopular, but listen, we need to normalize breaking up if a relationship is not working. A relationship must not be forced to work. In fact, it should not be forced to work. It should work naturally. All right? So when certain concerns become really deep and troubling, people need to normalize the idea that there is a chance this thing will not work. Okay, and I'm saying that because when I go through eventually, we'll speak to a lot of things, so let me just get right into it. But I just wanted to drop that there. People need to understand that when a relationship is now beginning to be too troubled, all right, prepare your mind that what if this thing doesn't work? Okay, and don't feel like it's going to be the end of your world. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Now, let me get back to the beginning of the whole conversation. So first of all, at the very early stage of the relationship, it had to become a long-distance relationship, all right? And I tell people that is something that we're dealing with actively, especially in this era. Because for economic reasons, people need to migrate. Do you understand? So it's a big deal right now. And it's not something that you can necessarily control. Unless one party is going to say, okay, you know what, I'm not interested in taking my job because I'm so in love with you. I'm not going to take that job. I'm going to be here with you so we can just be together in hunger and love. It doesn't happen like that. Do you understand? So he had to make the move the first time when he was transferred to Abuja, right? It was a necessity. He had to move, all right? And then that is one thing I think people need to also start paying attention to, how to make long-distance relationships work, right? There's a lot of genuine conversation that should go on there. But let me just leave that quickly because that's not the emphasis. And then there was this small scuffle they had about him visiting only when he had official meetings and to see his mother. And then she's asking, so where am I really? I'm the afterthought in your travels, right? And he's like, no, it's because of you I'm coming. And she's like, nah, that's not what I see here. That's not what I see here. So if your office didn't sponsor your trip, you were not going to travel. And then even when you travel, you make it clear to me that you want to see your mother and you have this meeting. So I am the afterthought. Now, I tell people that when your partner says something that you're not quite comfortable with, but it's what they feel about something you're doing, you need to understand that their feelings are valid. They're telling you something about the interpretation they are getting from your behavior. So we don't have all the details, but I would guess from what she's saying, there's something about your communication with her this period and around the visits places more emphasis on the job and the time you have to be with your parents or your mother than with her. And this is just a learning point, because one thing you need to know is that I believe one of the biggest emotional needs a woman has is for security. She wants to know her place. She wants to be sure that she's this, important to you, like she's number one to you, like you will do anything to assure her of this place that she's in. So I feel like at that point, maybe he wasn't adequately delivering the assurance she needed. And so she felt like, well, if it wasn't for this meeting and your mother, perhaps you wouldn't be coming. So what I would ask you is, how many times beyond the meetings did you come to Abuja particularly because of her? How many times did that happen? If it never happened, then you may see also that she had some point in saying that you only came when something brought you. And then, of course, the flip side, she too only visited when it was necessary.
Exactly. So it was both ways.
Yeah, these are the realities of life. I mean, cost of logistics is not beans right now. It's not a joke, right? So, so if you want to be intentional about visiting, it's something you have to plan and perhaps save up for a bit. All right, so you should cut yourself some slack if visits are not regular. Now, this goes all out to every other person who is in a long distance relationship. Don't over expect your partner to be showing up every now and then. Besides the cost of travels, there's also the security part you want to be conscious of. Do you understand? So this is where you guys need to maximize communication, maximize it. There are lots of virtual channels right now. Maximize it. Use all the options you have. Because if you think you must be seeing yourself physically to really show that, oh, I'm into you, you're into me, and you feel that cozy and that, it shall not work with the distance. You understand that? So generally, people need to know this. Place more emphasis on communication and then structure your visits so that you are intentional about it. You could say perhaps once every month, you plan for it, you book your tickets ahead of time, it's something you schedule for so that your partner understands that this visit is for me. Like it is because of me, this person is taking his time or her time to leave whatever they're doing to come spend some time with me. All right, so I just thought to drop that there. Now, there are a number of points I'll drop in before I get to, the last question of what should I do, because at the end of the day, all of this builds up to what we're going to be taking away from this conversation. So please, Somi, feel free to, if you think, if you want me to move faster or slower, you want to take me back, feel free to just interject where necessary. Okay.
Let me just come in there really quickly, Coach Mayzy. You did say, because clearly a lot of what is going on in this relationship and a lot of the concerns he's having is because of the fact that they're in a long distance relationship. And I heard you say people need to start figuring out ways to make long distance relationships work. And in my head, my head is just going ding, 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 ding. Like, is that really a thing that people should be doing, or should it be discouraged entirely? Now, one key fact that I somehow missed out on, but I remembered from the message that Anonymous sent in, there was already some sort of suspicion, going on. He did mention that the person that was it her lecturer or supervisor who she was working with in Nasarawa where she is, was paying her regular visits and all of that, and he was beginning to raise some kind of eyebrow, and then that was part of the reason why she called him insecure. So it comes back to this issue of, the long distance relationship thing. Can you actually have a long distance relationship and say, especially when you're looking to get married to someone, can you actually have a long distance relationship and not end up with these kinds of issues? Because the truth is that you can't, should I say now that you can't really know a person 100% when you're in a long distance relationship with them. There are nuances, there are body language, there are complete entire reactions. There are a lot of these things that you cannot tell from virtual conversations. So I feel like the crux of this matter, if you want to get deep down into it, we'll be talking about trust issues and all, but first and foremost, it starts on the fact that in a long distance relationship, should he even be encouraged to maintain a long distance relationship?
Okay, thank you very much. Hey, pertinent matters. Should long distance relationship be discouraged or encouraged? See, like I said, these are the realities of the times we are in. To discourage long distance relationship is to say that the only way a love relationship can work is when the two people are in the same locality and have physical access to themselves at will. But that is not. Long distance relationships work. I know several. There are several people I have coached. Some have been married already, long distance relationship and it worked. I just don't want to go personal, but man, my entire relationship and some part of my marriage was long distance. Right? So I know it works. Like I know this like the back of my hand. It works, so we can't discourage it because it has to do with the times we're in. What are the reasons people get into long distance relationships? Most times, search for greener pastures. Sometimes educational reasons. People are going to follow their studies. Do you understand? These are all valid reasons. And we teach people that you should not put your life on hold in the name of love. You say, my highest dream in life is to get married to the man of my dreams. So now that he has showed up, I have nothing else to live for. It doesn't work like that.
Oh dear.
So yeah, there are valid reasons, and we cannot remove, long distance relationships from happening. We can't stop it. We can't discourage it. People need to learn how to make it work, irrespective. I will get to the part of all of those suspicions, right?
Okay.
I will get to that part. And then maybe some other time we can even, or if time permits us, we'll touch a bit more on how to make long-distance relationship work. I have a lot to say about that.
Okay.
So we can't discourage it. That's just what I wanted to establish. Then you also made a point that, you can't really know a person 100% if you're not quite around them and stuff like that. Let me even make it more difficult. Even when you are married and living in the same house and 10 years anniversary and 20 years anniversary, you cannot entirely know a person. You that is yourself, you cannot even entirely know yourself.
Coach Mayzy, Coach Mayzy, you that was talking about self-awareness, and if you are aware of yourself, then it makes it easier to go into a marriage. Are you saying that even encouraging self-awareness, you will not still know yourself to the point that you can be...
So let me explain that. I said you cannot entirely.
Okay.
You cannot 100% know yourself because you're human. You're not a robot. You're not a program. You're human. Things are going to be changing. Events are going to be happening in your life that you have not encountered before, and you need to be responding to those events. Certain things will come up from your background. Certain things will come up from traumas. Certain things will come up from experiences, and you have to handle all of this. This is part of the frustrations of the social sciences, because you're dealing with the human being. You're dealing with the human phenomenon, the human who has a choice, who has a will. Do you understand? So we're not saying that, we're not by any way canceling the need for self-awareness, but what we're saying is that a healthy self-awareness helps you to know how to better manage yourself and manage the person you're in a relationship with. Okay, but to think that I'm going to know this person 100%, no. Every day there's going to be something new to deal with, all right? The way the person behaved the past 5 years, something can happen in the 6th year, and the person deviates from that behavior you're used to. People grow, people change. Okay, so just to establish that there.
Okay.
All right. So we will talk more about how to make a long distance relationship work. Let's address this our anonymous first, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please. So let's look at beyond the distance and some of the issues the areas that we've covered. There were also conversations around marriage. What did you? Yes. What would you say? Like, what were the feelers you got from both of them and the conversations they were having? Because there was a case of fear of, my parents, I don't want to end up with someone who hurts me. She said that, and then he also sat down and looked at his experience growing up and said, okay, in his entire time growing up, there was only one time that he knows that there was an altercation between his mom and his dad, and he has promised he's not going to be that kind of person. Did you sense some sort of physical altercation going on between them? Because for her to be going down that line and having that conversation with him, and then eventually, you could tell, because her initial discussions around marriage now started to, die down a bit. What did you make of that? And what would you say to him, anonymous, listening in right now?
Okay, thank you. Very good question. Even before that, there was a part where I'd like to emphasize, where he said she brought up the marriage conversation, and he said he wasn't ready for it at the time.
Yes.
And then he also said, not like he wasn't ready, but that he doesn't want to be pressured into something he's not particularly ready for part-time. And let me speak to that for a bit before I'll come back to this one about concerns with domestic violence and stuff like that. Now, you see, I mentioned earlier that one of the most important needs a woman has emotionally is her security. All right? The woman is the one who determines, actually, how do I put this now? No, so the woman is the one who requests, who wants to be sure of her place, but it is the man's responsibility to establish that security for her, to let her know that, you know what, yes, I'm with you, we're together in this, we're going to do this for life. If you guys have been dating for a bit and you are not bringing any conversation about marriage, and both of you are not children, you are of age to marry, you are adults, all right? Young girl is going to be concerned, man. She's going to ask, hey, what's this? You know that question they ask, so what are we? Where are we going? So she had to ask it. Now, she wants to know, is there a future here? Am I wasting my time? I want to give my all. And this is the thing about women. They come into your life and they already see all of the ways and all they want to be a part of your life. They already say, no, I'll change this about him. So she wants to know, how far should I go with this, my imagination, and all this, my fantasy? Am I building something here? Is there a chance? You see? And then for her to ask or to bring it up, it means it's something she's already considering and it's something she's open to. But she hasn't heard from you for a bit, or she hasn't heard from me at all. And then she just needs to confirm, should I take you seriously? How far are we going with this? You see? Why that is important is because I tell people that the reason you should get into a relationship is because you are considering marriage with this person of yours, with this partner of yours. If the person you are dating or in a relationship with, you cannot see yourself get married to them, I usually ask the question, so what are you doing there? Because part of the concepts we want to challenge is what people just call casual dating or casual sex, or just, let's just have fun, or just relationship without purpose. Okay? So you're the man that's got into the relationship with this babe. If you were not thinking marriage, then you should not have even bothered in the first place. But the fact that she had to ask, and then you made things difficult for yourself by telling her you were not quite ready.
No, but is anything wrong? He was being honest at the time. I read somewhere. Earlier today, someone said that if the first thing people are thinking of when they get into a relationship is marriage, that relationship is dead on arrival. Like they feel like he puts too much pressure on the people in the relationship at the time. So if he says, look, I'm dating you, I'm courting you, I probably want to get there, but I'm not there at this point now. Is anything wrong in that? And him coming out to say, look, this is where I am right now. How did he make that difficult for her?
Yeah, so I understand that thing you're talking about, where typically what the person who made that statement, what he's trying to exalt there is that there should be friendship between the two people. Because if you're starting out with marriage, then someone's going to be artificial. Someone's going to be putting up best performances. Somebody's going to pretend. Somebody's going to say, is it not just to marry? Oh, yeah, now best foot forward. Do you understand? Okay. But ultimately, you want to be sure that you guys are friends. The connect is original. It's not because, behind someone's mind, I just want to achieve an end with this thing and become my real self. One of the things I tell people is don't get married with a what's in it for me mindset. So that's the kind of thing happening where you meet somebody at once and all you're saying is, opportunity to marry. Oh yeah, let's marry. No. So what you want to build is genuine friendship first. All right. But guy, if it is genuine friendship, then people are not dating.
Really?
I don't know if you understand what that.
What are they doing then?
Friendship, then you're not dating. Because if you're dating, what is the end goal of your dating? As a mature man and woman.
What about companionship? Just having a companion,
which
but
kind
not
of companionship. No, what is companionship?
Coach Mayzy, if you ask me, who will I ask? But these are conversations that come up that people bring up.
Yeah. And that's why it's important we're having this and people are hearing us right now, because it's okay to challenge the status quo. But the real companionship your heart desires is marriage. That's what it really is. But for different reasons, and some people are scared, some people don't know how to go about it, so they just want to indulge this emotion. But ultimately, the real companionship they want is okay. So maybe because I'm saying marriage, it looks like I'm just hitting the hammer too hard, right? What they really want is commitment, isn't it? Isn't it? What they want is that one person that you say, oh,
is my own.
I'm secure with this person. I can share my dreams. I can share my life with this person. I can go all out with this person. That thing they want. I'm telling you, the real thing is marriage. They just don't know it yet. Okay? So what we teach people is when you're already eligible for marriage and you're considering getting into a relationship with someone, in the friendship stage, you are checking out different things. You're asking a lot of questions. You're checking, is there a chance that this person will make it to potential spouse? If there is no chance, you leave it as friendship there and you look for another person that stands the chance. But when people say that we are already in a relationship, then you're not sure if you want to marry. The question is, what are you really doing? Why do you get into a relationship first and then now want to deduce marriage out of it? You see, these things I'm saying, there are people who don't believe that friendship can be genuine and can be neutral and no strings attached, can be platonic. People don't believe that. So people just think, once boy and girl are close together, how about now? Romance is involved. But it doesn't have to be. All right? So you can be friends with people, but when you want to think relationship, what you're asking yourself is, can I marry this girl or can I marry this boy? Let me tell you where there's some dynamics playing out, and then I'll get back to the conversation.
Okay.
You see, the way the man and the woman are wired are really different. A lot of differences in our makeup. Now, naturally, a man is aroused by what he sees naturally. Many times, a man wants to add something about our biology too. You can verify this with science online. Something about the man's makeup makes him more ready to have sex than the woman. Something about his biology, something about his hormones. You see, now men and women, let me not get too far, but men and women have different levels of testosterone. For the men, they could have it more than what's available in the women, more sometimes up to 8 to 10 or 12 times more than what's in the woman. And that's the hormone that is responsible for his sexual drive, right? Many times when a guy sees a fine girl and he's aroused, especially if he's indisciplined or just, all he's thinking of is, hey, I want to get down with this babe. All right? That's perhaps what he's thinking of. Okay. Now, the lady, on the other hand, the way she is wired, she's wired to be tender, to nurture life, to bring life forth, right? And then to take care of this life. So what she really desires is companionship. That one person who is there with her, who assures her that her emotions are in safe hands and they connect deeply. Many times the lady wants affection and the man wants sex. But unfortunately, the man cannot just meet any girl on the road and say, Alpha, come make we go, be okay, right?
Not typically, exactly.
Yeah, some people do that actually. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just, let's assume under proper clients. You don't just walk, see a girl in the office and say, I like you, I feel like sleeping with you this night, right? So what he does is, he knows she has that need for affection and companionship. And then he presents that to her, which is what she really wants. Oh, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be your friend. You can trust me. You're very beautiful. He begins to give her affirmations, begins to tell her all those nice things. And because that's what she really wants. Oh, he makes me feel so special. He listens to me. Oh, he's so there for me. He gets me gifts. She says, this is a really cool guy. Hey, what the guy really wants is the cheese. But he knows that he has to present the affection that she wants so that she can give him access by herself. Now, she says to herself that this guy is doing all of these nice things to me. I don't want to lose him. Let me keep him by obliging to his sexual requests. So what's happening there is that she thinks that by giving into sex, what she's doing is she's letting him know that, yes, I also value you this much and I want you to stay. She's trading that for the companionship she needs, while Oga is trading the affection and all that for the sex he needs. That's how many people get into relationships. Actually. And then it's from there they start trying to now say, okay, now that it looks like we are really cool and I really enjoy this with you, I enjoy, sharing time with you. They now say, okay, later, let us marry. Sometimes marriage is an afterthought. And that's why in many cases it doesn't even get to marriage because it was never in the consideration. It was just about the guy wanting something and needed to trade love to get sex. And then the lady needing that love needed to trade her own sex to get. Now, when I'm saying trade, I'm not saying they're paying for it. Get me? You understand the terms, right? I'm just saying that this is what he's given
it's an exchange
to be able to get her to open up her body to him.
Right.
And then she's saying, I'm also opening myself to him because I really love him. He's there for me. He's kind. He's nice. So why not, if not? Right? But at the end of the day, because the foundation was faulty, it will crash, as it does in many cases. That's why there are many heartbreaks all up and down.
All right, Coach.
They think it was love. It was never love.
All right, Coach. Okay. We need to open up the phone lines and get contributions from any callers who might want to weigh in on this matter. So let me just put the phone lines out there again. It's 0700 951 0000. Also 080-959-74869. And if you want to send in messages on WhatsApp, it's 080-999-30137. You can also call in on the WhatsApp line. Right, so I have a caller now. And just before I take that caller on, Coach Mayzy, maybe after hearing what this caller has to say, we need to now come back and address what really the problem is with this guy and this relationship. And what he can do. All right, but let's hear from this caller. Hello.
Hello, Somi.
Yes, welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good to have you here.
And good evening to Coach too.
All right, Coach Mayzy, he's saying hi.
I believe it's the same coach you had last week or thereabouts.
Yes, same person last week.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job. And I just want to add my voice because it's related to the book I talked about one time I read about 10 Commandments of dating or social relations. It has to do with that. A very good book. The authors are American. So, and one of them is actually a broadcaster. So, and then the other one I think also has to do with things that have to do with relationship management and stuff like that. So I really agree with Coach.
Okay, before you go ahead, do you want to tell Coach who you are? What's your name and where you're calling from?
Okay, my name is King.
All right.
And, I'm calling from my palace, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead, King.
Yes. So I think actually, let me just be very brief so the others can also come in. I just want to agree with a lot of things you have said. I know, so listening to a lady, I know you'd be a little bit shocked about it, but come on, that's just the truth. That's it. For me, I know, like, for now, for any relationship, I think, I want to use myself as an example.
Okay. Coach, I hope you can hear him.
Okay.
Okay, Coach can hear you. He can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, it has to be a relationship that eventually will become, will eventually get married. So from day one, it's like, this is my intention. So it has to be very clean. Very, very clean. No sex, no like making any moves to try to get sex because this is something I want for kids.
Okay.
You get it. So I'm not going to be dubious. You have to be honest about it. You don't have to pretend. You have to have your own life. You have to be sure, okay, this is what I want, not because everybody's telling you to get married, not because you think you're old to get married. You have to be sure this is what I want at this moment.
Okay.
So let me just cut it off here so we can get more from others.
All right.
That's it. Thank
you so much, King. Thank you for sharing with us. All right, Coach Mayzy, let's get your thoughts and then let's see if we can help Anonymous decide. We've got about 8 more minutes to wrap this up.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, sir, for sharing with us also. Okay, so let's move it up a bit. Yeah. So his concern now is that she has gotten this job in another state. He was quite opposed to her moving because, according to him, I mean, coming to Abuja alone is not even that easy, and now she's going somewhere farther, right? So she should rather stay in Abuja so that the visits can be easier. And then she insisted that she was going to take the job, and then she took the job. But then he's concerned because the person who helped her get this job is someone who was her lecturer in school, and she feels like she's in communication with him too much. How he came to that, how I was able to measure their communication, I know that it is too much. I don't know yet, but he's concerned about the fact that she's talking with this guy. And then he made a statement that she said it is professional and there is nothing going on between them.
Yes.
But he has his concerns because of the proximity and the friendship. And he said something like, now he has asked her to marry him. And she says she's not ready. Or rather, she doesn't want to. And then the whole domestic violence thing, I think that's something we left off before. So let me just address that one first, right? Okay. Now, the truth is, everyone who wants to get married needs to have very honest conversation. And this is why we advocate for premarital coaching, actually, because there is a lot we need to address in your mindset based on where you're coming from, based on the kind of marriage you experience. Everyone's first example of marriage is what they experienced at home.
True.
Either from their parents or guardians or whoever raised them, right? And both of them in this case need to see a therapist so that they can get help about the kind of domestic issues they had or their parents had when they were growing up. Because she said she's very concerned about this because of what she experienced in her mother go through. And he mentioned that he saw his parents have this kind of altercation, but just once.
Okay.
All right. But that once has left a deposit somewhere in your mind, believe it or not. So she has a genuine concern, but I even have a question there. Why did she bring up that concern? Is there a vibe that you're giving her that is reminding her of something her dad used to do to the mom? All right. So he needs to listen to this really carefully. Is there a vibe? Why did she bring that up? Why is that what she's talking about when you're bringing up this marriage conversation now? Could it be that she's been observing you over time and then do you give her control vibes? Does she feel free to discuss anything with you? Do you consider what she wants, or does it have to be what you want? Is it your way or the highway? You see, these are some things that she may have been observing, and she's like, that's how my dad behaves, so his word is law. My mom doesn't have an opinion. I remember my mother wanted to start business. He did not agree. He scattered it. The other day she wanted to do this. So it's possible that some of the things she's experiencing with you is reminding her of that past. And she's saying, hey, I don't want this, so promise me you're not going to do it. Now, the truth is, both of them really would need to see therapists, because many times, many people don't know this, but you end up being attracted to the very same kind of people you have desired not to marry. Many times that happens. All right. So you need to know how to remove or deal with that, because there are neural pathways that have been created from all that experience growing up. Right. You need to know how to deal with that, how to heal from those experiences, and how to overcome that fear so that you don't attract it into your life. Very important, right? So let's just leave that there on that point.
Okay.
Right. But where we are now is the fact that he's concerned that she's not giving him the vibes now, like she wants to get married.
He says she's not as emotionally invested as he is.
Exactly. She's not as emotionally invested as he expects. Let me say as he expects, right? And then he's trying to get a commitment from her, like, okay, since you went ahead to take this job, commit to me that you will marry me. Bros. Relationships, marital relationships should be consensual. It is not coerced. It is not forced. All right? A number of people are on this ship. You have been seeing somebody. You did not make any commitment to the person. The person now tells you, I've gotten a job in another state, or I'm traveling abroad. Then you go and buy a ring tomorrow and come and propose. in your mind, oh, yeah, with this ring, I hereby lock you down and you cannot. Hey, that's why I said at the beginning, please normalize that there's a chance that this your relationship may not work. Normalize it. It will help your heart. Oh, yes, normalize the thinking.
Let's
help you.
Let's understand that a bit more, Coach. When you say normalize,
Okay.
normalize that your relationship should not work, are you saying people should go into relationships thinking it could work, it could not work, and
Yes.
it may work, it may not work, and then like why shouldn't they go in hopeful that look, I'm going to do everything I can to make this work? Why do they need to go in with like that double mindset? Like how does that help?
No, it's not double mindset. Let me tell you what it is. First, and you see, that's why you have to be very intentional about who you're getting in a relationship with. From your end, you're telling yourself, I'm convinced this is the person I want to do life with. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to make this work. Howbeit, you are dealing with a full human being who is a free moral agent, who today can tell you yes and tomorrow tell you something has come up. You don't have control over what that person does. So this is me telling you that while you're hoping for the best, prepare your heart in case the best you're hoping for, which is not within your control, does not come to pass. That's just what I'm trying to say. This will help people's heart. It will give you a shock absorber to receive shocks when it comes.
That's a tough one to do, Coach.
I've seen,
it's tough
what you
to
said?
do that. I said that's a tough one to do. I mean, like how do you go in expecting the best and preparing for the worst? Really, when it comes to relationships, is it? Perhaps you need to give us a class on how to do that, because I'm thinking about
it's
it.
a
I'm like,
principle of life, not just relationship.
oh
yeah. You're getting into business. You're investing all the time. You're learning, investing. You are hoping it will work. But somewhere in your mind, you have to be prepared if it does not work. Oh, yes. That's why we have insurance. That's why we have risk management.
Insurance
Because we
for
want it to work.
insurance in relationships, Coach.
No, I'm talking about life generally. But
I
I'm just
see.
letting you know it's a general concept. It's not just a relationship concept.
Okay, I get you.
This is what many people don't understand, and then they are prone to heavy injuries when there's a breakup or when the relationship is not going the way they desire. What you need to understand is you have no control over the other human being. If you cannot inspire them enough to submit and agree to do life with you, hey, they have a right to decide they don't want again if they wanted before. Right? And you need to prepare yourself. And that's why marriage is intentional work. In fact, that's why love is intentional. Right? Because you have to keep committing to the process. All right. And the person you are committing to also has to keep committing to that same process. Both of you have to work on becoming better so that you guys can work out. But if one person is putting the effort and the other is not feeling the vibe and the other person says, I want out, don't kill yourself. There are more people out there. That's just what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I hope it's a bit clear.
I mean, definitely. Well, Anonymous, who is listening to this, says, look, he's thinking of calling it quits. The problem is he doesn't heal very quickly from these kinds of things. He also went on to say that he knows that if he does call it quits to her, he's going to heal at some point, but it's going to leave a mark on him. And, he's not the kind of person that is given to trying multiple things at the same time. He's like, this is my own. I'm just going to stick with this one. I'm not going to, So those are the things that he's trying to deal with at this time. So I mean, I don't think it's going to be difficult for him to make the decision, because it seems like he's already like 1 foot out of the door. The thing is, even after having made a decision, he still will have to heal and will still have to go through the process. He did say that as he rounded up his message. But you are saying, from the last comment you made, Coach Mayzy, you are saying that, look, even he didn't go about things the right way. So if she is not really committing as he's expecting, then he should let her go. Is that what you're saying now?
Let me land on that thought.
Okay.
I'm not saying he should let her go just yet, right? What I'm x-raying is the fact that the challenge might not be her, actually.
Okay.
He needs to introspect. Yeah, he needs to introspect. He needs to look within and ask himself some pertinent questions. Why is he really concerned about her getting a job in another state? Things are hard, in quotes, right, in the country. Things are hard. Things are tough. People need economic survival. Somebody gets a job and you say they shouldn't take it. Are you going to pay her to stay in Abuja and not get a job? Are you going to do that? Are you going to match whatever that job was going to pay her? Right?
Okay.
So first, why are you uncomfortable with that? And that's why I said at the beginning that the concept of long-distance relationship is something that this generation has to normalize. Because unless you're ready to put your dream, to sacrifice your dreams, some of your dreams, all right, to be in that same location, if not at some point, you guys may need to be mobile. So it's a readiness. It's something I teach people that are preparing for marriage. You must have that conversation. There must be that readiness at the background.
Okay.
Or movement, right? Now, that's there. And then, so why is he really concerned? Again, why is he concerned about this communication with her friend or her lecturer or her colleague or her boss? Why is he concerned about it? Is it impossible for her to have a professional relationship with her boss? Is it impossible? Is it impossible for her to be committed to him? Has she given him reasons in the past to show that she is not committed to him?
Okay.
When it has to do with another man? Or is he just concerned because she's a fine girl and boys' eyes go through?
There is also that. Well, lots of unanswered questions. And well, I think we'll give it a few more minutes. But in just a little bit, we have to go on a break. Anonymous, I hope you've been listening so far. So many key concerns and questions asked, and hopefully you'll be able to weigh in on all of this and maybe come up with a decision that helps you. But stay with us. It's still 95.1 Nigeria Info. We still have Coach Mayzy on the couch. And then we will be coming back right after this break to sort of cap all of this. All right. So if you're listening, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Coach Mayzy, we'll come back to you right after this break. Thank you so much.
This is Nigeria Info.